Hello and welcome to A Cup of Tea with Dr. Zee, where we share everyday stories with you, everyday women. Are you ready to hear heart-to-heart key issues that we all face, no matter where we are in the world? So grab your cup of tea and let's welcome your host, author, international speaker, reinvention strategist, and woman that's full of faith in God and mankind, Dr. Zena Arinzi.
Hello, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of A Cup of Tea. Yes, A Cup of Tea with me, Dr. Zee. Welcome. And today is episode 12 of A Cup of Tea with Dr. Zee. Let me give you a little bit of background about why I do this. Now, this is a platform to spotlight people like you, people like me, everyday women from around the world. It doesn't matter what country you're in. You could be in Hawaii, Ghana, Nigeria, Jamaica, Trinidad, Guatemala, Venezuela, New Zealand. I'm telling you, I know my geography. I was really rubbish at geography. South Africa, Tanzania, UK here where I live, Ireland, Papua New Guinea, Honduras. Where else? What other countries haven't I mentioned? Puerto Rico, Mexico. Congratulations to the new president, the new female president of Mexico. Let's pick her up. Hello. Hello, Dr. Karen. How are you? Wow, all the way from sunny California. Hello, it's probably about 11 o'clock for you. Hello. Yeah, so let's quickly, send hearty congratulations to the phenomenal new president of Mexico, repping us women all over the world. So yes, I speak to extraordinary women and everyday women doing extraordinary things around the world, which means you and which means me. So this is an invitation to you to be ready, because I could be knocking on your door, I could be knocking on your gate, I could be knocking on your inbox, I could be sliding in your DMs, to invite you, because I'm watching you. I'm watching all over the world. I've got eyes everywhere watching to see the things that you are doing, and I could be reaching out to you. So the reason why I do this is to give a spot, to spotlight amazing things that amazing women are doing, especially if you think that no one sees you, you feel you don't have a voice, you feel that no one hears you, you feel as if you are invisible. I want you to know that in today's world, you can't afford to be invisible, because someone needs to hear your story. Someone needs to hear your pain, ultimately. And someone needs to hear the way you have risen from the ashes to joy. And if that isn't you, at least you can come on the show and listen to different stories and figure out, oh, wow, if she can do it, why can't I? Now, today we have an amazing lineup for you with the phenomenal, sensational Althea Blake. I understand she's having a few technical issues, but hello. Oh, hello, Anne. How are you? Lovely. And so the amazing Althea Blake, who will be joining us very soon. And we're going to be talking about dream work makes the team work, or the other way around, isn't it? See, I'm getting all confused. Teamwork makes the dream work. Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. Right. And the reason why we're going to be talking, I've just been notified by my green room that our amazing guest is here. So fantastic. For those of you that are watching, whether you're watching from England, America, UK, Nigeria, Ghana, wherever it is around the world, Mexico, maybe the Mexican new president's watching us. I just want to say welcome. And I just want you to know that it's really important that whenever you're doing anything, don't do it alone. You can get so much more further ahead when you do it with other people. That could be in the workplace. It could be in your family life. I mean, family is already a team. When you think about family, that could be your husband or wife, or it could be a partner. It could be a partner. It could be children. It could be, but a family, whatever it is that you call a family, is actually the first indication of team, where you work together, you collaborate for the common good of the family. And it's the same thing if you have a business, or if you're in a local church. In my local church, New Wine Church, just big up church, we have 7 o'clock service. I'm doing this is my ministry, but I'm bigging up my church, New Wine Church in Woolwich, London. We have a team set up where we have lots and lots of teams. I remember my founding pastor of blessed memory, Dr. Tayo Adeyemi, used to say that the best way to find out your purpose, to discover and develop your gifts inside and deploy them is to go to a team. If you go, for instance, for those of us that go to church, if you go to, let's say, children's ministry, and you want to throttle or strangle little Johnny or little Emeka or little Dion, you know that children's ministry is not for you. That's not the team for you. If you go to the team that cleans the church, and every time you go to the restrooms, you see soil just after you finish mopping it and cleaning it, and you want to basically, put a lot of acid in the toilet so that when they visit the crown or visit their throne, it splashes up and burns them, then you know that team is not for you. Ushering, whatever, it's not for you. But what happens that when you are part of a team, it makes, the work at hand lighter, but also it helps you to develop the gifts that you have inside you. And one of the things that I like about the work that I do is I have various teams all over the world doing different things. I have teams that help me in terms of my marketing. I have teams that help me in terms of my social media. I have teams that help me just to, keep me straight and narrow, because you know me personally, you know that I have so many hands in so many different pots, and you just need to have someone. I have 2 assistants that actually, Zena, this is what we're doing for this 6 months. This is what we're doing for the next. This is the vision that you set. So follow the vision. And that means that you're going ahead properly in a straight line. Sometimes you might bend a bit, but at least you're going to be in a position to fulfill the promises you made to yourself, but more importantly, the promises you make to each other and the promises you make to your family. Now, I'm going to bring on right now an amazing, amazing woman. I can see her in the green room, and I'm just going to read a little bit about her, because when I look at her bio, it's longer than mine, and mine's pretty long, but she's a woman, a master at so many things. And this is not like when you say jack of all trades or Jacqueline of all trades, a master of none. No. She is a master of every single thing that she does. When we first met a few years back, it was so funny. And the first thing that attracted us was we were talking about team setup. And I was talking about some of the ways that I develop my team and some of the struggles that I have in various teams, especially when you have diverse teams, virtual teams. I have teams in India and Pakistan and in Philippines, and how to manage it and how to make sure you get the best out of your team, and even the teams here as well in the UK. And she was remarkable, and she just said one thing, and what she said changed the whole trajectory in the way that I deal with my teams. And so for that reason, I'm going to read a little bit about this phenomenal woman, Althea Grant. I shouldn't tell you Althea Blake. I don't know. I keep giving her someone else's name, and you, I know you will agree with me. So give me 2 seconds while I look at this. Althea, this phenomenal woman. I must say, you're all looking very beautiful. Although I can't see you, I can see, your signatures and stuff. You're all looking very beautiful right now. And I hope you've had a nice Friday, wherever you are around the world. Hope Friday's been really good for you. And I pray that the weekend's even going to be even better. Do keep safe. Do make sure that you honor yourself in all that you do. Do make sure that you don't allow negativity to tell you something that you're not. Now, here goes. Althea Blake is a team nurturer. That's what we all call her, the team nurturer. She's a business startup and transformational coach. She's a public speaker, and she possesses a diverse track record of over 20 years experience in handling successes and transforming underperformance into excellence with regards to managing complex teams and complex projects and programs for not just not-profits, but also global brands, including Gucci, Save the Children, Facebook, and Star Wars. Based on her own life experiences, when burnt out, temporarily took out 75% of her vision. I'm talking about vision, not vision, but vision like sight, and paralyzed 50% of her body. She now uses entrepreneurship, employability, and personal branding along self-awareness and emotional intelligence to share her story and enable others to make better choices. That's you and me. She's really, really committed and passionate about empowering teams to discover their true value and purpose, both as an individual, but also as a team player, which leads to their increased competence and confidence. I like the alliteration, increased confidence and competence. Hello, haha, I can see people laughing there. Now, she shares that she's worked in multiple toxic environments as well across investment banking, and she's led marketing agencies as well. So it felt like a natural trajectory for her to go into nurturing well-being of teenagers to adults by equipping them with the tools and the techniques that they need to not just decelerate, but focus in a fast-moving, often deadline-driven environment. Althea inspires teams all over the world to work together towards a common goal. I hope you heard that, all over the world. Cultivating each unique strength to create a stronger, more dynamic team by driving higher long-term commitment, eliminating underperformance and achieving success. Now I'm going to stop here, so I'll give her a chance so she can actually tell you a bit more about herself. So without further ado, I'm going to invite the phenomenal, the incredible, the fantastic, the sensational Althea Blake. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, hello. See me? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
I can see you perfectly. Yes, I can. I can see you. You look very, very pretty and pink.
I thought I would match your theme. Only for you. Only for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
As you can see, I'm en route. I'm in between two destinations, so apologies for the backdrop of the car.
No, not a problem. I'm so grateful that you could actually spare the time. I'm honored because I know as business women and busy women all over the world, we've got to juggle so many hats. But the most important thing is that we need to show up, and you have shown up, and I'm so, so incredibly grateful. So thank you so, so much. Hope I haven't put you on a spot by that flowery bio, because it's absolutely you. You know, and I wouldn't have said it if it wasn't. So I'm so glad you're on the show. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat right now. You're the team nurturer. You're the team nurturer. You nurture all over the world. You've nurtured teams in Gucci, in Save the Children, in Star Wars. So futuristic teams as well.
We'll go that far in terms of the futuristic, but yes.
So I'd like you to, you know, when it comes to nurturing teams, what's the first thing that strikes you when you go to an organization or you meet a family or you meet a group and you see that there's an imbalance? You know, what's the first thing that you would do to ensure that you get the best out of each member of that particular team?
Okay.
Go here.
So the first thing I do is really build up rapport between myself and that team, because they're never going to open up to me if they don't trust me, if they don't feel like they can build a relationship. So the first thing I do is try to build a relationship with them. And the reality is there's normally a breakdown because there's a lack of relationships and rapport building within the team already. So that's one of the things I do. And then from there, I start having conversations. I don't start making assumptions. And normally leadership will bring me on and they will have an idea of what they feel the problem is. But by having that interaction and speaking to people individually and putting pieces together, it's soon very clear what the issues are.
Right. I like that. You were talking about building rapport, because that's always something that people overlook. You know, sometimes people dive head first. I'm like, well, I'm the expert here. I'm the consultant. All this, I know all about this organization. And you jump head first and you lose people immediately. So you're absolutely correct. Building rapport, because it's all about, in everything we do, it's all about know, like, and trust. Whether you're selling a product, or whether you're trying to, you know, get people to do things for you. Even if you're a parent, I'm a mother, and I'm a mother of 2 young adults. And if I want them to do stuff for me, I have to build rapport. If I say wash the dishes, those dishes ain't getting done. You know, I could shout until I'm blue in the face. So it's about building rapport in everything that we do. You
Yeah,
know,
definitely. And just as you say, even with your children, Dr. Z, as well, as parents, we do have to, they watch what we do, so they get to know us and they get to understand whether we're going to do as we say and say as we do. And, and then that builds up that trust. And so it is, again, that know, like, and trust. Do they like some of the things that we're doing? Do they like some of the values that we're displaying? And then if they do, then they will trust us to then follow certain instructions that we might give them. So definitely it works in all areas of know, like, and trust.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Don't do as I say, do as I do, do as I do.
Yes.
Which brings me to that funny joke that we always hear people tell where, the tax man or the bill man or the bailiff or whatever or the milkman comes to the door to collect his money. And, mum says, go and tell him, I'm not in, I'm not in, I'm not in, I'm not in. And so, little Johnny or little Amanda or little Ngozi rushes to the door and opens the door. Hi, milkman. Hi, bailiff. Hi, taxman. Hi, I just want to tell you that my mommy said to tell you
she's not in. Right they will always sell you down the river, those kids.
Yeah. I rest my case. Right, so then this just leads really nicely to the next question that I have. You've talked a little bit about building rapport, and that we've touched on the fact that we need to know, like, and trust in everything we do. You talk to someone on the phone, you want to enter business with them, you want to sign on the dotted line, you need to know, like, and trust them. But not just know, like, and trust. You need to build a relationship. You need to build rapport. It's all when we talk about collaboration, commitment, communication, connection, it's all stems from relationship building. Yeah. And the scenario I gave you earlier on where you come to a team and it's quite imbalanced and maybe people have said, oh, that person's not pulling his weight or her weight. How do you deal with underperformance? But before I ask you that question, I know when we were in the green room earlier, we talked about the concept of underperformance and how many of us have never underperformed because we felt we couldn't, which can and does oftentimes lead to burnout, guilt, all sorts of stress. So I just wanted you to touch on that, because I remember reading your bio. I remember 75% loss of vision.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on that first before I go to the next question. If you can share with our listeners how that happened, how did it make you feel, and what did you learn out of it?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, as you said, just the thought of underperforming, it just wasn't really part of my makeup. It wasn't part of my vocabulary. It was always about going that extra mile. When they talk about doing 110%, I was up there with like the 180%. Knowing mathematically you couldn't even get beyond 100%, but it was really that, trying not to, making sure I didn't look like I wasn't good enough, I couldn't achieve it, didn't want to look like I was failing, didn't want to look like I couldn't do the job as well as the person next to me, that I couldn't do better than the person next to me. So it was always that, I don't even know if I was even comparing myself to others, but I certainly was comparing. The comparison was with myself. And even though they say you shouldn't really compare yourself with anyone other than yourself, I think sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that we go over and above that it's quite detrimental to our own health. And so that's what happened to me. I came on board. It was a new team, and I came on board. I took over it. It was the projects that was going through, they were quite small in comparison to when I started, to maybe about 4 months into the role. And then about 4 months in, it literally quadrupled the amount of projects that came on board. But the team didn't increase, the resource didn't increase, the deadlines didn't, increase. Everything just kind of stayed the same. And I just remember getting like constant headaches. And I'm talking like about 20-hour headaches. I'd wake up with a headache. I'd go to sleep with a headache. I'd wake up in the middle of the night. I'd still have this headache. And at that time, I didn't even know what a migraine was. And everyone was like, take this migraine tablet, take these painkillers. And it literally just feeding me all of this pain relief that just had no effect whatsoever. And then it ended up with me actually being hospitalized. And I was really lucky at the time in the sense that the organization had private healthcare. So they literally sent me to all the best consultants. And so it was quite quickly, we're able to manage, I say quite quickly manage what was going on. But at the same time, as I say, my sight went, I lost 75% of vision. I remember going to my son's sports day on crutches, and I couldn't even see him win. I was like, was that him? Couldn't even see. And as I say, I lost the feeling in my right side as well. So from the waist down. So yeah, it was a really tough time, and it was because I just kept going. Even though I saw the signs, I was just like, I have to keep going. I have to keep going. And that's what we often do.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, I'm hoping that if you're listening right now or you're listening on the replay, wherever it is, whenever you listen to this particular episode, I want you to know that you can take a break. You can take a break. And even if you do underperform, sometimes give yourself grace. You've got only one body, not two, not three, one body. And contrary to what we hear on social media, in the news, on TV, you are responsible for your body. No one else. No one else. And for those of you that are Christians, our bodies are the temple of God.
Yeah.
So he expects you to use your body appropriately. So that means having lots of liquids. Liquids, when I'm talking about liquids, I'm not talking about whiskey and brandy, although you can have a top. I'm talking about lots of liquid in terms of water. I can see Dr. Karen in the background, and I know that she'll be laughing at this. So, oh, hello, Jenny. Hello, Jenny. Oh, lovely to see you.
Hello, Jenny.
Hello,
everyone.
Hi, everyone. So it's really important to, have lots of liquid, be hydrated. That's water. And if you're like me and you don't really like water, you can have squash, but make sure that you have lots of water. And then when you have a show like this on a Friday, make sure you have your cup of tea. And Althea, I completely forgot. I know you told me that you like.
I know, I'm feeling very parched as well, you know.
Yes. And I know that you told me you liked Earl Grey, and I did make a brew. So I was going to pour for me. That's a bit selfish. Let me pour for you. Have you got your cup with you?
I do.
Oh, look at that. Really dainty. Oh, all right.
A little bone china British cup.
Wow. Look at that.
You go.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's not too hot. And viewers, if you want a cup of tea, let me know. I can also make you a brew as well. And I don't know why my lighting's gone funny, but that's all right. I get distracted by all sorts of things. It's the ADHD, undiagnosed. But it's really important to keep yourself hydrated. Give yourself some grace when I know, especially if you happen to be a Black woman in particular, we have to work 10 times, 100 times, harder than other races. And we know that. But even with that, give yourself some grace. And coming to that, we're talking about not wanting to underperform. And so you push yourself to overperform and have a scale. So you don't even know when to stop. Like if I'm pouring a cup of tea for you, I know when to stop. If I'm putting my coffee cup at my Nespresso in the kitchen, I know exactly how much milk I need to froth so it doesn't go over. So it's the same thing with us in our bodies. We need to know where our ceiling is in terms of when to stop.
Yeah.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you anyway, coming on, just on the back of that, is with that experience, how do you deal with people that underperform? Because we have that. I have people I've managed both in my entrepreneurial life, as a business owner, and also in a 9-to-5, that, teams that you have members of the team that underperform, and you either have to manage them out or you have to manage them and all sorts of things. How do you do it to actually nurture them and get the best out of them?
Yeah. So I think the reality is everybody's different. Everybody is completely different in terms of how you'd actually approach them, and every team is different. So how people perform within one team might not be how they perform within another team. But one of the things that always seems to is one of the foundations where I start is looking at people's strengths and areas of improvement. So what is it that they're good at? What is it that they enjoy doing? And by understanding that, I actually take one step back. And it's important as a team, as a leader for your team, and one who's an advocate for your organization and the company or the business that you work for or own. It's really important that you share the vision. It's really important that you share your vision for the team. And once your team understand that vision and they're bought into that vision, it's important for them to have get clarity on what their roles and responsibilities are in terms of obtaining that vision and contributing towards it. Because as a team, it doesn't matter if you're putting 5% in or you're putting 80% in, you're all contributing together. And that 100% wouldn't happen without everybody in the team putting their effort in. So that's one of the things I always focus on, is like the vision, having buy-in, allowing people to know what their roles and responsibilities are. Often you'll go to companies who are having issues with their team, and you'll speak to people individually and you're like, do you know what your role and responsibility is? Do you know what the vision is? Not really.
Not really.
I've been here 2 years and I still don't know my role. So it's and for people, because the longer you're there, when you start, you feel a little bit embarrassed or intimidated to actually go and say, actually, I don't get it. And then the longer you're there, you're like, well, now I can't go and ask because I've been here too long and they expect me to know it. So you're now going through this journey, which should be your career, where you should be aspiring to higher heights, but you don't know what you're doing. And so you're not competent at the role that you're doing. So therefore you lack confidence. And this is what I say about competence and confidence, because the more you start to perform, your competent levels raise. And then when your competent levels raise, your confidence also raises. And then it's like a circle. It just keeps going around. Competence raises, then so does your confidence. And it just goes round in circles. But once you understand your strengths and how you can actually apply it and go to and start getting results and say, oh, look, this is the value that I bring to the team, you start to become really confident. And so your performance levels will go up. Now, everybody, just because you've got a job description, is not everything that you tick on that job description that you're going to be 10 out of 10.
Yes.
But there's people within your team that are doing a completely different job that enjoy some aspects that you're doing. And I'll give you an example. So I've come from like a project management profession. And one of the things I hated was spreadsheets. I honestly, spreadsheets just wasn't, it was one of the things that I'm going to pour over and over again. And I'm like, did I actually input that? I'm going to have to go over it again just to double check. And so I would speak to maybe the data analyst, build up a relationship with them, and they would do my spreadsheets for them. And then I would do something that they didn't enjoy doing. And so it was about that collaboration and leveraging our skills and swapping them. And this is what teams do not do enough. And this is one of the things I always introduce for them to do. And people enjoy that because now they're using their strength. It might be not in their day-to-day, but they're using their strength. And so they're really enjoying the role. And then they start to, again, increase their performance.
You know, that is, I like how you said that. And there's so many things that I can pull out of that. The first thing I want to pull out very quickly is leaders. There are lots of you who are, you know, on the call now or will be watching on, you know, on the replay. And some of you already know that I also work with leaders, senior leaders, Black women in leadership that are trying to, you know, get to the next level. And one of the things that, you know, many leaders don't do well is actually, number one, identifying the strengths on their team. You know, so rather than saying you're not doing this, you know, play to their strengths. So you need to identify, you've heard it from the expert, you need to be able to communicate what the vision is and communicate it with clarity. Don't communicate it the way it's in your head. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, I'm a visionary, and I'm 9 to 5, I'm all right, you know, because I've been, obviously there's a structure, but in my, you know, my entrepreneurial journey, I have 10-year plans and strategies I write myself. 15 years, I know what I should be doing. And I knew, in the early stages, it was really quite challenging for me to communicate to various members. And bearing in mind, I have a diverse team in Philippines and Pakistan and India, to communicate what my vision is for this particular product or service in the next 5 years. And I was getting very, very frustrated because I had teams that were really good at what they did. But every time I gave them something to do, they would produce something else that was completely different than what I asked for, and you couldn't just keep on sacking people and getting new people because, there's also that issue about continuity. You like the people that you work with, everyone understands each other. So I had to learn how to communicate my vision in a way that it didn't matter where you were from, that you would understand. Now, here in England, we like to use the word idiot proof. I really don't like that. But I made it so simple. I prefer the acronym KISS. Keep it simple without the other S at the end. Stupid. I won't put that. But just keep it simple. So I had to learn how to remove from my head all the highfalutin visions I had and kept it, broke it down to really granular level so that members of the team could understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, and where I was going, so they would understand their role in what. And also something else you said is about making sure that you empower people in your team. You have to empower. You have to let go. No one's going to be able to do it as good as you because it's not their vision. But they will be, if they can do it well enough. And when I'm talking about well enough, I'm not talking about average, because some people might say, oh, no, I don't like well enough. No. I'm not talking about well enough or, the best improved and all those sort of things you get at Ofsted and all. No, I'm talking about well enough that it's at a top level that, it can be used and it can do what it needs to do. And once you empower members of your team, like you rightly said, they have ownership because they need to own the vision. They need to own the vision and understand that they've got a part to play. It's like being in a church. If you come to church on a Sunday, when church is over, you're gone. But if you're part of a team, you're part of the vision. When something doesn't work somewhere else, it's the whole church. If your church has a scandal, it's you and the church. It's not like, oh, I'm not part of them. And it's the same thing, with your vision. So I like what you were saying. And then the third point, that you talked about, empowering your team, and also something that we don't do a lot of as well is sing your own praises. I love the Americans for this. The Americans do it so well.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether they're white, pink, yellow, Latino, it doesn't matter. Each American knows how to toot her or his horn. And this is something we don't do so much in Europe. If you're like, oh no, we need to be humble. You can't be humble in a team because you need to be able to show up. It is part of a team, but you are also an individual. I've been, fortunate to sit on many, many panels where we do graduate recruitment and we get people, for, like investment banks. I'll be called as an external consultant to sit with them. And one of the exercises we do is where you have a whole group of people, about 20 people, and it's a big group. And you give them a case study for them to do together, but we're marking people individually. So it's your duty to know what can you say to stand out, even in that group. What can you do to stand out? So if you are a team member, stop playing small. I'm not telling you to step on someone's head, and don't do that. Don't be underhanded, but do show what you bring to the table. Do, with pride. And I'll go back to you, Andrea, because I don't want to hijack you. You are the team nurturer, not me.
So I think you're just so right in terms of that praise. I think it's one, definitely self-praise. And let's be honest, we all, require some type of acknowledgement from our peers, our colleagues, our families, from everybody. That's just natural. I mean, if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's up there in terms of requiring. Yeah, exactly. So what I find is, and I draw from, and my whole team nurturing is, again, life experiences, not just in terms of the burnout that I experienced, but some of the things that I experienced working within teams and seeing how well it went. And one of the things that I came on board as a consultant for a company, and what they did really well was a weekly recognition of employee of the week. And this person would have their picture. As we walked into reception, their picture would be in a frame, and then they would get like a small trophy as well. But what it was everybody within the company would vote towards certain people, and they would say what it is that they had done, why they deserved that reward as well. And so there'd probably be about 5 people, and they would choose the top 5 and whittle it down to number 1. But what happened was those 5 people got public recognition within the company, and they were told, when they heard what their colleagues actually said about them, they were like, oh my goodness, wow, I feel appreciated. To think I've been working so hard, thinking nobody noticed, and yet this has been documented and it's been publicized for everybody to see. Now, yes, that we're most of us have some type of introvert tendencies, but in reality, when we hear those things, yes, maybe we don't want to stand up at the front, but actually getting that recognition and someone acknowledging that, well done, you've done well. I've recognized that you've worked hard. I've recognized you're a team player. I recognize that you work well on your own. I recognize your contributions. All 5% of it, keep going. That alone is what will help push people to really, and it's not about working harder, because I always say about working smarter. I don't think about working harder, and that's what Decelerate's all about. It's about being able to just slow down without being in fast moving environments. And so just getting that recognition, I think is really key. But you also must have these recognitions for yourself, these daily or weekly wins. What did you achieve? What did you learn? What was important for you? And I always say, they're always talking about giving this person flowers. I'm like, look, go buy your own flowers. Go buy your own bouquet. In fact, go buy a chain of flowers for yourself, I'm like, give yourself that praise. It's important. It's important. And I know most of us are coming from, where the generation above us would be like, look, you should be seen and not heard. Go sit down. And, if I got anything, if I did well, I could got an A. And I come home and I said to my parents, oh, I got an A. Oh, you couldn't get an A+. What grade harder than that? And then you wonder why I had underperformance issues. But these are some of the things. So we sometimes shy away from even wanting to praise ourselves. But that is important. That in itself is a reward and a win that will help us keep going.
I'm so glad you put that in there, because many of us, are either come from those backgrounds where, I come, my background is Nigerian, and, it was always like, if you didn't get an A, or you got an A, you were quite happy. And I'm like, does a person that had A+ or A star, does a person have 2 heads? And so you never felt as if you'd achieved, whereas everyone in the class, they weren't doing that well. And they'd go home. Little Johnny, from Ireland somewhere in Dublin, he would go home and he'd have a D, and Auntie Patricia and Uncle Mike will say, "Oh, well done." I mean, I can't do it. My Irish accent's
right. Don't bother.
I won't bother. But they would get all the flowers, and I would get
exactly. And that's exactly what it should be. You get a D. You get, my goodness, if you get an F, you want them to do better. It's like, oh, well done, but what can you get next time? And listening to someone like the most successful people, even in their biographies, they talk about how they were the bottom of the class, and they started to creep up, and then when they started getting that recognition and that praise, they realized, you know what, this is something that I actually enjoy. This is something I like, and actually I'm achieving it. Back to that, the more confident you get, the more competent you get, the more confident, the more confident, and they pushed harder until they were top of the class. So it works exactly the same in a team environment. You just give people praise, recognize, let them feel a valued part of the team, and they will start performing. You're
absolutely right. There was something. I hope you haven't poured any hot tea over you.
just a little bit.
I don't want you scalded. For those of you that watched the show last week, I spoke about my 3rd degree and 2nd degree burns. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. I'm just literally getting around the corner.
We have many things in common. I don't want that.
No, I love you, but I'm not sharing that. So
exactly that.
But at the beginning of the show, you said something about why it's important to recognize your 5% that you give, and it's that is really, really key. And you also talked about that you could be a CEO. You could be a CEO of a cleaning company. You could be a doctor. You could be, you could be a florist, and you have other, florists under you. It doesn't matter, a teacher. It doesn't matter what you are, but you have a team under you. But you can't shine without that one person. For instance, if you're in a primary school, without the janitor, you can't shine. I can assure you, on Christmas party day, when they're doing all the ice cream, all over the place, and all the confetti. That teacher, you won't be able to do that. It's the janitor that's going to do the sweeping. It's going to, so everyone has their little bit to contribute. The Bible talks about how, we all fit together. Every brick or every limb. And I've forgotten the scripture. But it's all part of one. Without the hand, you can't. Like for instance, I've got one hand. I'm trying.
Yeah.
And I believe I can do all things through Christ, but I can't clap with one hand.
Yeah.
And so everyone contributes, every limb supplies, as the song says, the song by, I won't harm you. I need you to survive, what's the Hezekiah Walker, that we each need each other. And it's important that it doesn't matter where you are, it's important that you might be a team player that's giving 5% now, but you might end up being a team player giving 10% in something else, like the example you gave where, you didn't like spreadsheets and, and a data scientist would do that. And you recognize other skills while you're in that role or in your business that you didn't even know that you had. For instance, I do all my own copywriting. I'm not a copywriter, but I love it. It's something that I discovered.
Yeah.
And so there are lots of things that, I won't be a doctor, so don't come to me. I'll kill you. But there are lots of things that sometimes life forces you to do, and you get to do it and do it well, and you get recognized for it. Now, time is fast spent. Oh, my days. Now, before, we kind of round up, I'm so incredibly proud of the work that you do with teens. I've seen, how passionate you are about it. I see the commitment. I can hardly get you on the phone when I want to speak to you because you're training some group of teens somewhere into adults. And that's amazing. So I want you to share a little bit about that work that you do. That is really fantastic. It's come full circle, being in corporates, working for the biggest brands in the world, and now working for the young people who are the future of tomorrow. Well, the future of today, really.
Yeah, definitely. So one of the businesses I own is obviously doing the team building in corporates. But in addition to that, I have another business, which is a non-profit, where I actually help young people to start their own businesses or to get into employment. A lot of them are really interested in getting into the creative industry, which again is a background that I also have. So it's about giving them tips. And in terms of the team building, I've just seen a question in the chat as well, so I'll come to that shortly as well. So I'll just do this one quickly. Is one of the things I always say to them is, even if you want to start your own business, and you, particularly if you've got no experience in the area, go and work for somebody, because I don't believe in you being like a solopreneur. I believe in building empires. So this is what I encourage them to do. So it's go and work with somebody else, even if it's some work experience, voluntary, and see how they run their teams. See what leadership looks like. See the things that people are complaining about and the things that people are praising. These are the things that you need to be incorporated into your business. For me, every day is a classroom. You're learning something. Don't go to bed without thinking, what did I learn today? What was it that I was able to do? How was I able to adapt in different circumstances? So I just go to, so that's what it's kind of like saying on teams, but I just want to jump to the other question, because I also am aware of the time. So what do you suggest one do if you don't receive deserved recognition for the work that you do? Yeah. So, and this is really common, and sometimes it's because there is an issue with the leadership having that self-awareness. And I've coached so many people, and it is down to a lot of the times, even if they have like one-to-ones with their managers, their line managers, it's still the same thing. They tell them that they're disgruntled, or they share with them the things that they've done, and that person is not just doesn't take it on board. Now, usually it's, again, as I said, it's more a self-awareness on their side of things. You can't change people. You have to either get that validation elsewhere. You have to start internally and know, okay, I know I've done a great job. I've done an amazing job. And then you have to say, what is it that you really and truly want that recognition for? Is it because you are trying to climb the ladder and you want to get that promotion? Then you've got to be realistic with yourself. How many years are you going to stay in this company with this person above you that will never give you that opportunity? not because you don't deserve it, not because they don't recognize you for it, because one, there could be a lack of awareness on their side. Two, they're probably threatened with their own role where they're not going to promote you and they don't want you to get recognition over themselves. And sometimes people just have personal things going on in their lives that they're so, they've got such tunnel vision of what's going on in the workplace and what's going on with their teams, because they're not, I don't think you can be born a leader, to be fair, but they was never trained in leadership. And it's not about just going to courses and getting training on being leadership. It's about walking the walk and talking the talk, and constantly your leader assessing you on how well you've done. If you do not have that in your pipeline, everybody below that level is going to suffer.
That's right.
It's either you come collectively and say, look, we're going to have this serious conversation. You bring an external mediator in, like HR or somebody that you both value and respect, like a leader from a different team, to sit down and really say, look, this is what's really going on. Are you able to identify with this? What is the reality of you recognizing what I've done? But it starts with, what is the end goal? Is it just self-satisfaction that someone's recognized what you've done? Or is it because, no, I need this recognition because I need to step up to the next level? And then you've got to be honest with yourself. Is that reality really going to happen? Because sometimes we have to, I can't think of the word, choose your battles wisely, or choose what hill you want to die on, whichever the term is, but it's that, again, keep going. What are you doing for your own self-care to stay there? I stayed at a company because I was like, redundancy is coming. The redundancy has been rumored. I deserve that payout. I stayed at that company an extra 3 years, longer than I needed to, and they still didn't make me redundant. 2 years after I left is when they started making people redundant. I'd moved on. I'd got the money I would have got in the redundancy. I'd earned that over and over by moving on. So sometimes we have to step outside our comfort zone, but just be truly honest with ourselves as well.
I like the answer to that question. Thank you very much. I hope that's helpful. Just to add on that as well, just one tiny thing I want to add to that is, in addition to everything that Althea has said, it's also important for you to keep a record. Keep a record of, your accomplishments. You can do something slight. This is what I do. What I used to do in the past, earlier on in my career, I'd send an email, to my boss and say, oh yeah, just as we discussed, this is what I've done, and then they would respond, and then I'll say, oh yeah, and I did this, and they would respond, and then that's my record of what I've done. Because when you least expect it, you need it. You need it either to validate yourself, like Althea said, or you need it because you need to put it in your CV, or you need it because you need to talk about it at your next interview, or you might need to use it as a case study when you become a leader yourself, if you're not a leader now. So at all times, you need to keep good record of every single thing that you have contributed to the organization, especially when it's an accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to add one thing, which I think is also very key. See it from a what's in it for me, not for yourself, from their point of view. So they're thinking, what's in it for me? And so, and my late mother-in-law, she used to always say, sometimes you have to kiss butt before you kick butt, basically. And sometimes you have to play the game in order to get ahead of the game. So sometimes it's about what is in it for them. What is it? How can you feed their ego till you go above and beyond to get where you need to get to? So it's about, again, being strategic, but what's in it for them? Because they're never gonna and again, you get some excellent managers who are just like, you're like, I just want to move on and get to this position, and they will map it out for you and help you get there. There's others, which I believe, if they're not giving you recognition, it's kind of like the category that you fall under, where they will just never it's not their intention to help you. So it's again, what is in it for them, that they get something out of it, but you get what you need, which is the main thing.
I have to bring you back, because I'm like, I just feel as if we're just getting started, I know. Talking about the importance of collaboration, collaboration, not competition, connectivity, inclusivity, and So I'm just going to let you end with, if you can give 3 key insights that people would need to use, either if they're building their own teams, or they happen to be on a team, or they're thinking about setting up a team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And I think it goes back
all embracing.
Yeah, I think it kind of like goes back to the first thing, always about the vision. You always want to be on the same team, you know, singing from the same hymn sheet, as you've heard that expression many times. And it is literally that you all want to be batting for the same team. You want to make sure that everyone knows what the vision is and that they're working towards it. But they also, when you're looking at their strengths and their areas of improvement, which I don't like to call weaknesses, but the areas that they need to improve, sometimes it's because of the embarrassment of those areas they need to improve that they won't speak up about, but they're lacking. You need to be the type of leader who can recognize that and give them the resources, the training, the support that they need to get them to that level. So it's the vision. It's for them to really understand the clarity of their roles and responsibility and make sure that they have the skill set to be able to do it. If they don't, upskill them. And one of the key things is treat them like they're the next leader. Don't treat them like they're your beneath. Treat them like they are the next leader. You get support that way. You get support. You get them always wanting to support you because you're not trying to hold them back.
Yes.
So they're the 3 things that I would definitely say. Yeah.
Wow. You know, listeners, have you been able to squeeze, if you want to squeeze, like they say in church, try and squeeze everything out of her. You know, I'm trying my best as well, but I will bring you back. I have to, you know, say it's a Friday. I know Fridays are very, very precious. I know that my weekends are very precious. I'm exceptionally grateful for your time, your expertise, your generosity, and the calmness in which you've been able to identify what the issues are in terms of teams and managing teams, but also how to, you know, move past that to nurture the teams and nurture individuals within the team so that they can be the best that they can be. I will bring you back, but for now, I just need to say thank you so much, Althea. It's been a blast. You know, this is a dry subject, you know, but it's something that we all need to talk about, because without, you know, the fundamentals, your building blocks on a team, you can't go anywhere. So thank you so much, and may the Lord bless you in everything that you do, in Jesus' name.
Thank you so much as well, Dr. Z. It's been a privilege being here, and thank you for all that you do for the women. You are absolutely awesome and amazing. So thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening, and those of you that are going to listen to the replay. I know we used to do this 30 seconds, 30 minutes, but because we have so much fun, we have so much things to share. It's 54 minutes. So enjoy this on the replay wherever you are. Take down notes, but in the meantime, keep on being amazing. Celebrate yourself. Give yourself your flowers. Identify your strengths and your weaknesses, and tell yourself the truth, whether you're a leader or a team player. It's all good. We all contribute. God bless you, and have a lovely, lovely evening or morning or afternoon, anywhere where you are. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to A Cup of Tea with Dr. Z, your reinvention queen. We hope you've been motivated and inspired to go out there and conquer any obstacles and issues you may face. You can find Dr. Zena on all social platforms. Until next time, remember, you're not alone.